he is probably one of our most loyal and grateful Almanians, visiting us nearly annually, usually during the foundation celebration to say hi to us, supporting the beat of our students, big or small, liking and sharing our school photos in Facebook, and not forgetting his Antonian roots. Clearly, he's one of the kindest people I know. He was even featured in Inquirer when he was still in grade school, and the article had a tagline, "Late but great," because he won first in a science competition despite being a little late in the contest anyway. This article may be seen in our memorabilia room, where he and his teammates were champions in the National Science Club Month sponsored by the Philippine Society of Youth Science Clubs. In high school, he and his teammates also garnered the top award in NCR and the whole of Luzon at the Philippine Science Olympiad. He likewise became president of the SSA Science Honors Society. But not only is he a science whiz, he was also an active member of the Sapiensya et Virtus, ang Paglalayag, as its news editor. He graduated first honorable mention here at the School of St. Anthony when he was in grade school, and garnered the same spot when he finished high school at SSA in 2008. He's likewise the Alumni Association representative of the batch. In college, he took up Bachelor of Science major in Life Sciences with a specialization in Biomedical Sciences at the Ateneo de Manila University and finished with honors. I vividly remember that year, 2012, when he finished schooling, because Ateneo invited our high school principal to the graduation rites of their school, since several Antonians finished as magna cum laude, and with academic honors in this institution, which to me is a telling sign of how they have been prepared as children with wisdom and virtues at the School of St. Anthony. He's currently studying at Far Eastern University, Nicanor Reyes Medical Foundation Institute of Medicine, and will be finishing as a Doctor of Medicine this April 28, 2016. Congratulations, Ray. At present, he's the Editor-in-Chief of the Journal of Asian Medical Students Association International, and was the chapter representative of the Philippines back in 2015. Some of his research papers include ruptured mycotic aneurysm of the iliofemoral artery, a case report, determination of acute oral toxicity of Pandanus amarylithocious crude methanolic leaf extracts on ICR strain mice, and preliminary molecular analysis of Philippine rattan germplasm collection. And although I can hardly pronounce some of these terminologies, let alone understand them, it goes to show that this guy I am about to introduce is brainy and intellectual. But despite his achievements and accolades, what sets him apart from the rest is his very humble ways, Christ-centeredness, and his absolute loyalty to the School of St. Anthony. Colleagues, guests, and dear Antonians, let us put our hands together for Mr. Ray Chester San Agustin Ambida, also known soon as Dr. Ray Chester Ambida.
Wow, I'm really taken aback by those words. Ma'am Trisha, thank you for those kind words. So, please forgive me for a little bit stuttering. This is actually my first time to speak in front of a large crowd. So, as I was seeing your faces, the faces of our graduates a while ago, I was reminded of my own graduation a few years back, and let me emphasize that just a few years back, for I'm really not that old. So, we had our graduation at the Upper School Quadrangle, and just to give you a time, a background of the time, we were the last batch to actually wear the white toga. So, I know exactly that feeling that you have right now. Most of you, I think, are more excited to finish the whole program and skip this part, skip my speech. So, I'm just like you before, young, innocent, a little cuter and a little chubbier, if my teachers would remember that well. But I remember, to be honest, I was barely listening to our graduation speaker back then. So I think this is the way of the school punishing me for not listening that time. Just kidding. So, first, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. and Mrs. Corlejo, Dr. Montinola, and Ms. Ananka, who in fact was my grade 6 advisor back then, for inviting me to give this speech. So, just in case you got bored during my speech, you know exactly who to blame. Now, going to formalities, to the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Enrique F. Coralejo, to the School Directress, Mrs. Victoria A. Coralejo, to the Assistant Directress and Institutional Principal, Dr. Maria Tricia C. Montinola, to the Accounting Administrator, Mrs. Maria Angela C. Parma, to the rest of the Academic Council, faculty, staff, parents, guests, dear students, a very pleasant afternoon to each and every one of you. I bet your minds are all over the place right now. As I said, I bet most of you would like to skip this part of the program. Some of you are looking forward to their graduation gifts, while others, probably just like me, are wondering what we're going to have for dinner later. But, my dear graduates, I would like to ask you these questions. What exactly are we celebrating right now? What exactly warrants all this attention that in the middle of the afternoon, in the middle of summer, we are all here gathered in this covered court? Well, for one thing, I bet on it, you're a lot smarter than you were 6 or 7 years ago. Aside from that, I hope you're a lot better student now than you were when you were in kindergarten. Am I right? Yes, of course. So, the question that I would like to ask you is, after all these years of studying, now that you've already graduated from grade school, I would like to ask you, how much better of a person have you become? Have you ever think about that? Well, probably not. So, when you receive your report cards, or when you had your report cards before, you look at those numbers. What does those numbers exactly mean? Well, let me tell you something. Those numbers are merely measurements of your intellectual progress. Nothing more, nothing less. So, aside from having these grades, how do you suppose your teachers, parents, friends, and even your siblings will grade you as a person, as a human being? How did you progress emotionally? How did you mature socially? How will they rate or grade you, not as a student, but as a son, as a daughter, as a brother, as a sister, or even as a friend? Do you think you will get the same high grades, the same passing rate as you did in your report cards? Or were you just so caught up with your studies that you forgot that there's more to your life than just being a student? Think about that. Now, what is the point that I'm trying to drive at here? First of all, I want you to know and remember that you are here in school. Your school is not merely a training ground for your future careers or profession, but rather your school should build up the foundation or should be your launching pad for you later in your life. So, for example, in schools, as mentioned a while ago, you have endless sleepless nights studying, trying to prepare for your examinations, projects, reports, and even assignments. Let me ask you this. How do you prepare for them? Do you plan ahead? Do you manage your time? Or do you just cram? Or worse, you let your classmate do all the work and wait till you have the chance to copy them. So, I know, I'm not sure if your teachers still do this. There are times that they give you surprise tests, surprise quizzes. So, I would like to ask you, how well do you prepare for them? How do you handle the stress, the tension, the unknown? My dear graduates, life, I must warn you, is full of surprises. And more than the examinations that you have in your papers, the tests that you're going to encounter, the tests that you're going to experience later on in life, are those that are unexpected, those that will really surprise you. So, while in school, you are asked to multitask. I know that feeling. I too was once a student like you. I have 3 examinations the following day. I have a project to finish. My mom asked me to do errands, and my little brother or sister would bug me, asking me to spend time with them. So how do you manage all these chores? How did you handle the stress, the tension? Take note, later on in life, there will be more multitasking. How ready are you? Have you think about it? So, aside from this, something that I remember, when we were in grade school, we were asked to do a lot of things. We were asked not only to study for our exams, we were asked to draw, sing, dance, and even perform. Especially during our field demonstrations in October. I know things can get a little too competitive, but I bet the teachers and the parents are more competitive. Aside from that, in school, you will experience both successes and failure. But let me ask you this. Were you the type who was so quick to grab credit every time you get an accomplishment, while faster to point fingers at people when in cases that you fail? Did your feet remain planted in the ground during good times? And were you quick to get up to your feet when you fall? Or did you just let others pity on you or wait till someone helped you stand up? Life, I need not tell you, I think your parents already told you this, life itself is not a straight path. In fact, life is one roller coaster ride. Because life is full of roadblocks, dead ends, and even detours. So, how ready are you for all these challenges? How well did you prepare for yourself? Now, I'm done with my message for the graduates. I now turn my attention to you, our dear parents. I'm more nervous now than for the graduates. Our dear parents, I know how much time and energy you've spent just to give your children a decent education, just for them to enroll in a good school and finish here. But I tell you, in the end, especially those who have sacrifices would pay off. Now, I remember my own parents. My mom, she sacrificed her career just to take care of all three of us. My dad, he sacrificed his time and worked abroad just to give us the best education that we could receive. And I hope, my dear students, you would appreciate what your parents did for you. So, let us give our parents a round of applause. Now, the more serious part of my message to you, my dear parents. Your children are not young anymore. They're not kids, but not yet adults. Your children are entering probably one of the most critical and exciting periods in their growth and development. We call this adolescence or teenage years. Adolescents, please correct me if I'm wrong, are often described as adventurous, idealistic, and often rebellious, seeking attention and autonomy. This is a time that they're often misunderstood, especially when they try to create their own identity. However, dear parents, I must warn you, never ever turn them into mini versions of yourself. They are not a little dad or mom. Or worse, never force them into the realization of your own unfulfilled dreams. How often have we heard children say, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a soldier because that's what mom and dad wants me to be. I tell you, let your children learn on their own. Let them follow their own dreams. And again, I must stress, their own dreams. Not yours, not mine, but theirs. Their life, their choices. Now, you must get the wrong impression of me just letting your children roam around freely. What then would be the role of you as parents? Well, for one thing, let me correct the traditional misconception of the parental role. Your role is to guide your children and not to impose on them. Your role is to suggest to them and not to dictate to them what to do in their lives. You were once, I believe, not too long ago, in their shoes. Then it should not be very difficult for you to understand. As a growing teenager, your kids would try to explore the world and seek role models and support groups outside your own families, your own homes. And I hope that you would be there to continuously guide and support them. Never restrict them in their activities, but never be too lax either. Let your home, let your family serve not as a prison, but as a refuge, as a sanctuary for your kids. Because by the end of a long and tiring school day, I hope that your children would come back to a place that they would call their home. Now, saying this, two words come into my mind. First, communication. My advice to you, my dear parents, to always talk things over to your children, especially when you have an argument. Treat each other as equals and with utmost respect. Because at the end of every argument or every discussion, the important thing is not to have a winner, but to have an agreement. Second word, compromise. It doesn't mean always to be their ways or yours. But the important thing is, both of you are at the same page. Both of you agree as to what direction you'll be heading. Now, to sum everything up, putting in the words of the Holy Father, Pope Francis, I like this idea of dreaming. family. Every mother and father dreams of their son or daughter in the womb. Is that true, my dear parents? So, to dream how will your daughter and son be, it is not possible to have a family without such dreams. When you lose this capacity to dream, then you lose the capacity to love. It is so important to dream and to dream in the family. My dear parents, and also our graduates, never cease to follow your dreams and dream as a family. Now, my talk is not yet over. I still have one more message. Now I turn my attention to you, our dear teachers. Some of you I've known personally since my grade school and high school days. And I'm not lying when I'm saying this. I think you haven't aged a bit. So, as mentioned a while ago, I'm always here in school, so I see my old teachers here. And nothing has ever changed. I'm still the student that I was a few years back. And for the rest of you that I only met now, consider yourselves comparable to wine, just like your far older colleagues. We're like wine because you get better and sweeter as you age. I think this holds true with our own Dr. and Mrs. Coralejo. Now, to the more serious part, as a teacher, I know you're all aware that you have a very special and important role in molding the minds of our students, the future leaders of our country. I know being a teacher is hard, and probably that's the understatement of the day. But I do hope that you would continue to teach them not only your textbooks and lesson plans. I hope that you would teach them values, values which they can use later on in life. Teach them to work effectively and efficiently with other people. And more importantly, let them be aware of the things happening in the society, in our country. Elections is fast approaching, and I really do hope that our dear students know more about what's happening than what social media is trying to portray. Guide them so that when the time comes, when they are the ones leading us, when they are the ones choosing our leaders, they would know what to do. Now, I would like to give recognition to our teachers. Can I ask them to stand up? I think I speak on behalf of the alumni and the graduates of the school in saying this. Your word is more than what you think, and probably more than what other people think. For me, and I guess everyone else here, your value is priceless. So, can we give our teachers a round of applause? You may now sit down. I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank my own teachers during my grade school and high school days, who surprisingly are still here. So first of all, where will I start? First of all, my grade 6 advisor, teacher Len Ananka. My grade 5 advisor, teacher Karen Ignacio. My home economics teacher, who was also my mom's classmate in college, teacher Luz Lazaro. My science teacher, coach and trainer, teacher Lot Ketulio. How will I describe the next one? One of the most respected teachers and disciplinarians in our school, teacher Rudy Nabora. And one of my second mothers here in school was in fact my friend's mom, teacher Nanay Ruth Concepcion. Who else have I forgotten? So, and for You know exactly my message to you. I won't call you anymore. It would take more time. So you may now sit down. Thank you. So, why do I say that your worth is priceless? For how many professionals who claim that their job is to make a difference in other people's lives? That your role is to help shape a nation. And your calling is to help define not only the present, but also the future as well. So to our dear teachers, thank you for molding us, for guiding us. Now, this is really the last part of my speech. To every one of you here, especially our dear graduates, I challenge you all to value your education. Your education is the most important gift that your parents will give you, far more than your achievements and your possessions. I challenge you to value your education more than 1,000,000 times you value your cell phones, your iPads, your Facebook or Twitter accounts. For this will be your greatest asset in your quest to be the best that you are. But at the same time,